'Tis the season, that time of year again, to sit round the fire and laugh at shitty movies in the name of Christmas. This is Venom on the Shelf 2, 12 Days of Venom.
On the 8th day of Venom on the Shelf, Rob gave to me social services calling, religious storytelling illegal. Hermione, Judy Garland. Forced arranged marriage, awful tone deaf singing, transsexuals banging, and a dog butt kiss in Mayor. Hello and welcome to Venom on the Shelf, celebrating the 12 days of Christmas. Well, we took a look at Home Alone 4, which was a pile of shit. And then last year we took a look at Home Alone 2, which was a pile of shit. We took a look at Home Alone 5, which wasn't as bad as you'd expect, but still a pile of shit. And now, will there finally be a Home Alone sequel that doesn't suck? No! After part 2 was obviously a huge hit and a huge shit at the same time, John Hughes naturally wanted to do a third one based on Kevin as a teenager. However, Macaulay Culkin had quit acting around this time and had just grown bored of playing the character anyway. The plan was then changed to focus on Harry and Marv pursuing Kevin's cousin Fuller, played by Culkin's real-life brother, but both Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci refused to come back as well, wanting to do different things, and even director Chris Columbus didn't want to return, so instead of doing the normal thing and just not making a Home Alone 3, John Hughes in all of his infinite wisdom decided to do it anyway with nothing to do with the original two movies whatsoever. Sounds like a masterful plan.
Oh yeah.
Naturally, it got slated by fans of the first two, but Roger Ebert, who, if we recall, wasn't a fan of the original,
I think I would have liked the movie more if it had been much more realistic.
actually had this to say about part 3.
This is the one where they finally got it right. I liked it better than the other two.
Than the original Home Alone?
Hates the first one for not being realistic. Likes part 3, which has super secret agents chasing a child for a secret government chip to destroy half of Asia. This is Home Alone 3. Well, at least they open with the traditional Home Alone theme, which is very respectful. Maybe this won't be so bad. And then we cut to fucking Hong Kong, where this gang are looking for a chip that's been stolen and is worth $10 million and it helps them dominate the entire region. This is Home Alone! This isn't Speed 3! What the hell is going on?
I don't ask questions.
Oh well, we then head to California where the chip is in the possession of the bad guys, but they hide it inside a toy car to get past airport security. Yes, people like this that caused 9/11.
Oh my god.
They even storm through the airport like badasses. Does this even look anything at all like a Home Alone movie? But hey, at least it maintains continuity from part 2 with its unlikely coincidences as they get held up and someone in front just so happens to have the exact same bag and they get switched. What the hell are the odds?
I checked the Dallas, Miami, New York, and Denver lounges. Nothing.
Bars, restaurants, club lounge, clean.
When I was in the John, I didn't see anything in there.
Okay, that was funny.
Has to be on a plane.
Not necessarily, I mean, you could have just not seen it. Now, they spot the closest boarding plane and decide to head to Chicago, the same city that Kevin was at, but he's masturbating on Michael Jackson's face right now, so he's busy.
I don't care for excuses.
So they land in Chicago and still manage to spot the correct bag owned by an old lady called Mrs. Hess, but she gets away in a taxi. But luckily, in the 90s, they had futuristic gadgets that still look outdated now, and they record the license plate. They track the cab driver down hours later and decide to interrogate him.
You had a fare from the airport around 16:20 hours, January 8th.
This film is set in January. Yet everyone else in the movie says that it's Christmas.
Not this Christmas, but last Christmas.
Do any of these movies understand the concept of passage of time?
Had nothing to do with this.
Oh, and he actually somehow remembers the specific passenger and just willingly gives out her entire address and even describes her goddamn house. Why would they need the description of the house anyway? Oh well, we cut to the new kid called Alex, played by Max Keeble himself, Alex D. Linz, although he just looks like Froggy Fresh here. Probably the same height too. So Mrs. Hess is a miserable old bitch who makes Alex shovel her snow, but hey, at least she gives him a $10 million microchip to destroy Asia as a reward. What a nice lady. The bad guy, whose names are barely mentioned, and honestly I don't care, so they're just the bad guys, show up and decide to check out every single house. Didn't he give them the address?
We'll come back when it's light.
We're gonna work houses in broad daylight.
It's the suburbs, Mr. Hunger. Nobody's home during the day.
Oh, how convenient for your script.
Oh, yeah.
But you see, this movie doesn't follow the common cliche because both of his parents are workaholics, not just one, so it's completely different. Oh, and his sister is Scarlett Johansson, that's cool. And his brother is... wannabe Buzz. Oh, and Alex has chickenpox. Apparently. All he does, he itches himself a little bit at the start, but he doesn't show any other symptoms. He's just running around having fun, he looks completely fine. He doesn't show any other symptoms for the rest of the movie, but yeah, he's got chickenpox. But wannabe Buzz isn't quite buying it.
Mom, with all due respect, this is a scam to get out of having to turn in his science project because his bug died.
What?
Yes! He went out, grabbed a chickenpoxed kid, rubbed him all over his face to get chickenpox, to get out of doing a project, because you killed his bug 5 minutes ago that he would have no way of knowing you did. There's being a bullying brother, and then there's making no goddamn sense.
My clients have requested it.
So Alex uses his toy car to take cups to his mum to get a drink. I can't decide if that's cute and charming or just pure laziness. But meanwhile, the bad guys lease an entire house to hide out in. Aren't they wanted? Wouldn't he need some kind of ID to oh, who cares?
Shut up!
Oh, and Alex somehow uses a telescope with a remote control that somehow operates Mrs. Hess's TV from across the street. That's not even remotely possible. Oh, who gives a shit?
This is great.
But the bad guys use these stupid disguises to spy on the area, but trouble arises when his mum gets a call.
No, that's okay. Mary Lou can handle it. She can access the... No. I know, I promised you, but my child wasn't sick when I promised you. There's no... Okay, fine.
Really? Your kid is sick? And then they just say, oh yeah, well here's the situation. You completely ignore it. My kid's sick. Oh, well, we have to do this. Oh, okay, I'll ditch my sick kid. What the hell?
And Charlie, I just want you to know that you're putting me in the position of having to choose between making a house payment and taking care of my sick child, and I really don't appreciate it.
Why are you so pissy at them? You made the decision in a nanosecond.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
But it's fine because she has a backup plan.
I'll be gone an hour at the very most. I called Mrs. Hess and told her you'll be alone, and she...
You call Mrs. Hess? She knows I'm gonna be alone?
She said if anything comes up, she'll be right over.
So why not just have her come over? What the hell's the difference? She doesn't have to sit with him the whole time. She doesn't have to be in the same room, at least in the same house.
What about crooks?
I don't think that's a problem during the day, honey.
Why not? Nobody's home during the day. I'm only 8 and I figured that out. Don't you think a grown-up crook could figure it out too?
This dialogue is so forced. No one talks this way. Unless they knew ahead of time that the crooks actually were there during the day. No one talks this way.
But Mom, what about dragons, giant spiders, mummies, the living dead, and other figments of my imagination?
Okay, I must admit, Alex D. Linz actually does do a really good job in this, and sometimes does actually recapture some of the magic that Macaulay Culkin had.
Thank you.
So he starts to notice the bad guy's odd behaviour as they're all going on specific timed routines, and he even notices the main guy in someone else's home closing the blinds, which is actually really creepy. But unlike Kevin, this brat actually has the brains to call the damn police. Unfortunately, they manage to sneak out before the cops show up and investigate the house, just as his mum returns home, but would they really send this many cops to check out a supposed burglary reported by a child?
Freeze!
So it turns out the house had a security alarm that somehow wasn't affected, and naturally nobody believes him.
I don't know what your boy saw, but there wasn't a person in that house.
I'm very sorry about this. My son's been home with the chickenpox, and I just had to run to work to pick up some papers. I'm completely strapped. I don't normally do this.
And he doesn't do or say anything about that! She just admitted to leaving a sick child alone! Are you friends with the McCanns?
Absolutely.
But the bad guys are also onto Alex as they get the feeling they're being watched. Meanwhile, Alex's dad is also a shitty parent as he decides to also leave his sick son alone, but his mum should be home soon, so it's absolutely fine.
Alright.
Dad?
Alex, this is a very safe and secure neighborhood. We have great police, as you learned yesterday. Nothing bad is gonna happen here.
Dad?
Yeah.
Got your tickets?
Yep.
Got your wallet?
Yeah, it's in my pocket.
Where's your pocket?
Yeah.
Twice. They used the same gag twice. And it's dragged out so much, and it's so painfully unfunny.
That's a scary thought.
So the bad guys scout the area. Alex spots the main dude in this house and calls the police. What? We just saw this! They have literally repeated the exact same scene! And why the hell would the cops even listen to the same kid 2 days in a fucking row? But luckily for them, the Chicago police are morons and he just hides in the ceiling. Alex gets disciplined for prank calls. No one believes it. We've seen this already! Oh, and they kidnapped his friend's dog. How the dog hasn't attacked any of them yet is beyond me, but even more stupid is the fact that they still continue to walk the damn thing in the neighborhood. You steal a dog and then walk it around the neighborhood that you stole it from? Are you high?
Positively.
But don't worry, Alex just has to get the last word in.
Alex, apologize to the chief and go up to your room.
Excuse me for being a good citizen.
Ooh, meow. So Alex talks to his parrot and has come to the conclusion that since they're breaking into houses but not taking anything, they must be looking for something. So they leave him alone again? How many times does it take for you to realise that he's playing up? It's not even the fact that you're leaving your sick child alone anymore. It's the fact that every time you leave him alone, he's a little shit. And you still do it over and over.
Do you think we're happy about that?
Oh, and Alex somehow starts hooking up security cameras now. Yeah, he can barely count to 5, but he can hook up security cameras. He's like 2 years old. Anyway, he puts a camera on the car and uses it to distract them, somehow reversing to make the rug move, because this would totally happen, before he captures footage of the main dude robbing stuff. Then he finds it and the chase is on, but it conveniently gets covered in some laundry. And can still see through all of it. But it's okay because he then uses the magic remote to fuck with the TV before calling the phone and having the parrot talk while the dipshit ignores the obvious moving clothes. My head hurts.
How embarrassing.
During all of this, Mrs. Hess actually spots them all sucking at remaining stealthy, but uh-oh, the dude gets a hold of the car. Which can now uppercut, apparently. He investigates the phone thinking the parrot's voice is a real woman while the others hunt down the car.
What's that funky smell?
I lost it!
What? Acting! But uh-oh, the car is out of range. Until he just moves across the house and then it just continues like normal. Alright.
I see it.
We are actually having an intense car chase scene between a car and a remote control car.
I got it!
They even added the cartoon sound.
I didn't copy. Where?
I said I'm heading to work.
And another one? We even get this intense Indiana Jones-like music for a damn remote control car returning home. But whoop, they took the tape out. So how was it still recording the whole time? Alex was watching the tape and it was still recording. And why didn't the bad guy take the chip out when he took the tape out? It would have taken 2 seconds. We see later, he just left the chip it.
You think it really matters?
So he calls the police again, but what a shock, they don't believe him. Meanwhile, the woman somehow knows it's a kid messing with them.
The cops come twice. They don't believe the kid. He takes matters into his own hands. It can't be anything else.
How the hell would anyone come to that conclusion based on what they know at this point? And why would you want to admit that you're being completely owned by a child?
Well, there you have it. Settled. Alex, could you pass me the false alarms? Excuse me, I'm sorry. I meant the peas.
Nobody talks this way, even to pick on someone!
Don't get smart with me.
So she actually rings their home and pretends to be a parent of one of Alex's friends to find out if he has a toy car, which he soon realises and hangs up the call. But yeah, you guessed it, his mum doesn't believe him. She even redials, but much to Alex's surprise, they've redirected it.
Outgoing call.
She's ringing you. So that's an incoming call, not outgoing. These writers are qualified. Blah, she has a lovely chat, pretends to be a parent. Wonderful.
I'm not gonna cry or feel sad or scared. They're grown-ups and they're criminals. But this is my neighborhood and this is my house.
Okay, so...
No matter how old they are, no matter how big they are.
Alright, now...
They can't beat me here. They can't beat me at home.
Okay, we get it! I mean, do you remember Kevin's speech? It was like short to the point and badass.
This is my house. I have to defend it.
This one just drags on. Just get to the point. Oh, well, they start setting up all the traps at night, which is weird because nobody managed to wake up or remotely hear any of this going on. But it begins in the morning. He uses a dog whistle. He doesn't have a dog. Why does he have a dog whistle?
You're wrong.
He cuts the doorbell before his mum notices, uses the dog whistle to trip up the lady, even though earlier one sound freaked out the dog enough to run away, but here it's just moving around, whatever. Oh, and then a trousers rip on her ass because, ha!
I need assistance. I'm exposed.
Maintain your position.
Do not, I repeat, do not draw attention to yourself.
Earlier, you threw off your old man costume and ran through loads of backyards in broad daylight. Oh well, the FBI get told about Alex's call earlier about the microchip and rush off to Chicago. Back home, Alex hides the brutal traps from his mum, who somehow doesn't hear any of this. And all because she's leaving him home alone again!
Oh, sweetheart, I am so sorry about this week. It breaks my heart to have to come and go like this.
Yeah, so much so, you've ditched him about 76 times this week. You do seem pretty torn up about it. So Alex continues to set up all of his traps, but where the hell are the bad guys now? I mean, he's in broad daylight now, easy pickings, and they're nowhere to be seen. Oh, and then the most 90s song in the world starts to play, but it is pretty cool.
This is my town. Watch your step if you come around, and if you're ready to see hell, come on in.
The old switcheroo.
Thanks for that. Literally just told us what's going to happen, therefore ruining the surprise later on. Great job. Oh, and only after she's left does she ask Mrs. Hess to check in on Alex, and even guilt trips her when she says she's busy and going out because shockingly she has a life and it isn't her responsibility to look after your child. But this is the one time she actually does head over. On her way though, they stop her and trick her into the garage.
Sometimes they leave stuff at the back door. Why are you closing the door? I left my heart in San Francisco.
Okay, that is a pretty cool line. So one guy gets electrocuted on a chair and the other on a wire. Well, that's the first two films ripped off, but no, this is completely different because it comes out of his arse where the script was produced. Then he slips on a mat on some marbles, which was in both films minus the mat. A dresser falls on them, which was done in different variations in the other ones. And the main guy is supposed to be the highly intelligent one, but he just isn't funny or entertaining or interesting like Harry was.
I'll leave this open. Fresh air will be good for you.
She's tied her up, but the dastardly plan is leaving the door open. Oh! She looks so proud of herself too, like it's so sinister. But this dude gets caught on a wire, which turns on some pipes to spray him. He just kind of doesn't even get out of the way for some reason. This weight falls on these guys, which was done in part 2. Do something new!
We got hit twice, you dumb broad.
Excuse me, Mr. Unger. I didn't get taken down by an infant.
Well, you did. You got the dog to trip your ass up. Proofread your script! More traps of shit being thrown in their faces. Her glove gets stuck in glue. The main dude gets sprayed in the eyes, but then he damn near murders the kid with a saw. And then one of them gets completely mutilated by a lawnmower and still comes out unscathed. She gets a flower pot on the face, which was pretty damn precise. She had to be in the exact position for that to have even worked. The main guy even gets hit in the dick, shot up the arse, and is still fine. Like, he just gets right back up as if nothing happened. The other guy goes through the window and lands in glue, which is a damn near identical copycat shot of the original film.
Now things are looking up.
Well, they stole that from the second one.
Harry, I've reached the top.
And then he even falls through the floor. This is the exact same scene. Meanwhile, the banisters fail when she falls on her ass, but how is nobody outside seeing any of this? Oh yeah, I forgot. In the suburbs, no one is around during the day. Oh yeah, she can do all of this acrobatic shit, but she can't catch a 4-year-old. Oh, and she falls through the floor somehow, despite the dudes being at the door earlier and it not happening then. Proofread your fucking screenplay! More unfunny falling downstairs, hand lands in a mousetrap, shit falls on him. As in, literal shit. It's actually shit. And it's not funny. This movie's shit. Time to shoot the phone lines. So Alex answers it, not realising the bad guy's listening in.
I'm gonna come home right now.
No! Don't take care of your sick child! You must neglect him more! For some reason, though, he lies and says it's all fine, but he does maintain more of the charm from Kevin by pretending he's playing games with Mrs. Hess. Oh, and the bad guy just so happened to set his gun down next to Alex's fake one, and then ends up picking up the wrong one. What the hell are the odds?
I don't know.
Meanwhile, the FBI locate Alex's mum at the school to give her the bad news.
He may be in danger.
He's not here. He's at home.
Let's move.
Why is he in danger?
You mean neglecting him 109 times was a bad idea?
I'm not at liberty to discuss it, son.
The it you're referring to is my little brother.
The one whose life I make miserable. Also, just tell them on the way! Who cares why he's in danger? They've said he's in danger! Get in the car! Why does it matter why?
We think he intercepted a top-secret electronic device stolen from a Defense Department contractor by a group of international criminals working for a North Korean terrorist organization.
Okay, who cares? That was funny. So the parrot sings as a naked woman cardboard cutout is in the shower because they have to mimic the first two movies some more. But it's clearly not even moving and it still manages to fool this dumbass. And then he has a rot in his crotch for another balls joke. It's not funny! Okay, that saved it. Just didn't see it coming.
You smacked my winky.
Well, if you changed your shorts once in a while, maybe you wouldn't have rats in your pants.
This is the first time he was dressed like that. And that wasn't the reason the rat was there. This line's dumb.
He's been watching us the whole time.
But you've known that this entire time! You literally said it!
We could have a watcher on any house in any street. It's a kid.
Proofread your fucking script!
You're not gonna find me up there, you big dumb law-breaking knuckleheads!
Quite a big step down from...
Down here, you big horse's ass!
Won't stop the rip-offs, though! So they're trying to jump down on the trampoline, but end up going through it to the ice-cold water, but only after some terrible green screen effects. But yeah, they ruined the whole joke earlier, so... pointless. And despite knowing that Alex has rigged this entire house, and despite knowing he's outside now, the woman still insists on climbing inside the dumbwaiter, but what a surprise, she gets dropped. Meanwhile, Alex finds Mrs. Hess and unties her. There is quite a dark moment where he thinks that she's actually dead, but no, killing her would have made the bad guys actually intelligent. But how fucking long does it take for the police to get there? They were at his school. Does he go to school in India? But I must admit, this shot of the douchebag emerging from the darkness is actually pretty scary. He rips the car apart to get the chip with ease, so why didn't he do that earlier? I have no idea. Before pulling out a gun, but realises that it's a fake, while Alex pulls out the real one. Well, he doesn't, because the movie itself showed him clearly throwing the real one away earlier! Stop ruining your own twists!
Gotcha.
And why would he even do that after he left? It's just for the audience. Does he know he's in a movie? But Alex and Mrs. Hess are best friends now. Yeah, who cares about all of the years of her treating him like shit? And what a shock! The character in a Home Alone movie that seems dark and scary seems to be quite nice. Who would have seen that coming? There's only so many times you can do the same twist.
Today you learned something.
So the cops are on the case and arrest all of the bad guys.
Freeze!
You gotta be kidding.
Then Alex reunites with his mum, which isn't really very emotional. I mean, they've been together constantly, she kept abandoning him. In the first two, Kevin was at least away from his mum, so the reunion felt earned. But here, it just doesn't have the same impact. This film sucks!
I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you.
This is very cool.
And why not rip off Buzz's transition as well? So he returns the chip, the bad guys get arrested, and they even claim that they've been on the run for 7 years. Yeah, and a toddler caught them, how embarrassing. Meanwhile, the bad guy's hiding in an igloo, but the parrot somehow knows where he is and takes the car there to blow him up. The car that the villain broke earlier.
Now, I'll be there in just a minute.
Oh, I genuinely forgot that his dad was in this movie. So he returns home. Why is the film film's still going. No one cares about the dad.
Have you ever had the chicken pox?
I had the chicken pox when Herbert Hoover was in the White House.
Do you get it? Do you get it? Because in part 2 they said...
You know, Herbert Hoover once stayed here on this floor.
The vacuum guy?
No, the president.
Genius writing!
Maybe he's not so clever after all.
So he gives Alex a new remote control car before another cheesy 90s song kicks in. And look, they all have chicken pox now because it's funny! No! No, it's not! And that was Home Alone 3. You know, I actually remember enjoying it and defending it for being underrated and unfairly hated. No! No. It sucks. Many have said that it tries something new, but it doesn't really. It still rehashes almost everything from the original 2 films. It just throws in this microchip bollocks to try to make it different, but every trap, every moment, every cliche is still retread from the first 2. Alex D. Linz does a great job and the acting is actually pretty good all around, but it's still a movie that just shouldn't exist. It fails as a sequel and it also fails as a standalone movie. Let's just face it, we are never going to get a good Home Alone sequel. And this has been Cinematic Venom. Join me tomorrow where we get even more villains that aren't intimidating. I guess, like, the only one left to do is the original. I've not reviewed the original yet. Should I do that next year? What do you guys think?